why we remain on Earth, and in the space you can be floating around. People have always been curious. Now, what is the meaning of curious? Curious means interested in knowing. Children are little more curious than other people, correct? So, when they are interested in knowing, in Hindi we call it jignasu. That means they are very interested. They keep on asking questions, why is it like this, where is it? So, people are interested in knowing about the heavenly bodies in the sky. We want to know about the stars, about the planets. They have always wanted to reach them. People want to go on the moon. You know, Neil Armstrong had gone on the moon. So, it is a fascination for people to go beyond what they already know. However, to send some object from the Earth into space, it must be given power. You know that normally something, if you have to throw it, lot of force you have to put so that it goes high up. Now here you want it to go out into space. So you have to give it a lot of power against the force of gravity. Rocket technology or space launch technology is used for that purpose. So when we send out a rocket goes zick up in the air. It has a lot of power behind it which will take it up. Now, before we continue on page 4, let us look at page 3 at Do You Know? India's space missions, that means India has sent out a lot of space missions like the Chandrayaan or the Mangalyaan. So, we can have a look at that. Look at the pictures first. Asteroid, we already learned, this is the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Then, we have a natural satellite called the Moon. But this is a man-made satellite. This is India's first mission to the Moon, known as Chandrayaan. You can see over here, the Chandrayaan will orbit around the Earth and it will send us information. We have another for you. This is the Mangalyaan. This was also man-made and this was also sent out so that it can capture pictures, it can give us information. But these are artificial satellites. The Moon is a natural satellite. So let us look at this first. Chandrayaan. On 22nd October 2008, the Indian Space Research Organization, that is ISRO. ISRO is the short form. I for Indian, S for space, R for research and O for organization. So if they ask you what is the full form, you should know. They launched a spacecraft to the Moon. Launched, that means they sent. The mission is known as Chandrayaan 1. Mangalyaan is another important Indian space mission and is also known as MOM. M stands for Mars, the O for orbit and M for mission. It was launched on 5th November 2013. It got established in an orbit around the planet Mars on 24th September 2014. So, it was going around Mars to study Mars. ISRO achieved this feat in its first attempt. Now, feat, be careful of the spelling, F-E-A-T. That means this is some great action or deed. Deed means what you have done. Kritya means what you do. Kartab means something khas, something special that you do. So this feat that they have achieved in their first attempt, attempt means trial. They tried it first time and they managed to send this into space. There were no people on board these spacecrafts. So they are known as unmanned spacecrafts or unmanned crafts. The objective means goal. Goal means aim, lakshya, dheya. Why do they send it? What is the purpose? So the aim or the objective of the mission is a deeper study of the Moon and Mars. We are curious to know, we are interested in knowing, which is why we send these into space. Let us now look at page number 4. We continue. We were talking about rockets, right? How the rockets are launched. With great force we sent it up. One of the Diwali firecrackers is called a rocket. You can see the picture in your textbook. It is packed with explosive substance. Now explosive, that means which explodes, sphotak padarth, yani which will burst like that, and with that bursting it will give lot of energy. The explosives burn rapidly means quickly, and produce a lot of energy. The design of the rocket is such that the firecracker is pushed in a certain direction at a great speed. Now, certain direction means we don't send a rocket this way. Otherwise, it will go and burn your neighbor's house. We normally send it up in the upward direction. Now, here let us see the picture. How the space launch uses a rocket. You can see over here when it is being launched, there's a lot of fire here which is giving out lot of energy, and this will take the rocket up so high up that it will go out into space. Please have a look at it. Let's come back to the textbook. Very powerful rockets are used to send a spacecraft into space. A tremendous quantity of fuel is burnt. Fuel, that means petrol, diesel, all that is known as fuel. In rockets, so that spacecraft weighing thousands of tons can be launched into space. Thousands of tons is so heavy. That heavy, if you have to send it up in the space, you will need even more force. So lots and lots of fuel is burnt for that. In the 20th century, a few countries of the world developed space technology and sent hundreds of spacecraft into space. Now 20th century means whenever you have 1900 and something, then it is known as the 20th century. Just now we are in 20 something, which means we are in the 21st century. So in the previous century itself, lot of countries were trying to find out how to go out into space, and they started that technology, or they started learning about it. Our country is well known for the development of its space launch technology. So India is no less. We are also known for space launch technology. Some spacecraft remain in space. That means some we will send and it will come back, while some will remain up there. Some are brought back to Earth, while some land on other planets or satellite. Now why does it land on other planet? If you want to study about that planet or satellite. Up till now we have studied about the moon, about Mars by sending out our satellites. In some missions, satellites also travel in the spacecraft, and they are known as astronauts. Now let us look at a spacecraft. This is what it looks like. If you watch the movie Gravity, also you will get to see a spacecraft. Okay, so this is what a spacecraft looks like, which they launch and they send out. But this is unmanned. That means there is no person in it. If there is a person in it, of course it has to come back. And we can see Rakesh Sharma, who is our first Indian astronaut to be sent into space. Okay, so this is Rakesh Sharma. You can see over here in space, there's no gravitational pull, so you float around in outer space. So you can see. Coming back to your textbook, do you know Indian astronaut Rakesh Sharma became the first Indian astronaut to go into space in 1984. He spent 8 days on a space station for a joint mission of the ISRO and the Soviet Interkosmos. So, it was in collaboration, that means Indian, ISRO as well as the Russian, that is Soviet. In those days it was known as USSR or Soviet Union. Today, of course, it has broken up into 15 countries. Major part of it is Russia. Seeing India from space, he said that it looked sare jahan se acha. That means when you're out in the space and when you're looking down on the earth, on our planet Earth, and you can see India over there, you feel that sare jahan se acha Hindustan hamara. Why did he feel like that? In some countries, if you look down, it might be only sandy desert. In India, you can see greenery, you can see the red mud, you can see the black earth, you can see so much variety when you look at India from out of space. Now, find out more about the work of Kalpana Chawla and Sunita Williams, astronauts of Indian origin. Now, Sunita Williams works for NASA, which is in America, and she has gone also on many missions. Unfortunately, Kalpana Chawla lost her life in one of her missions. Now, let us look at man-made satellites. We have seen the picture already of man-made satellite. Man-made satellites provide useful information for agriculture. Now, you might feel, how does it help in agriculture? Because whether the rain clouds can be seen, when the picture is taken from out of space, you can see exactly where the rain clouds are covering the earth and whether it will rain or not rain. Environment, if there is pollution. Weather forecasting. Forecasting means prediction. Prediction means bhavishyavani karna. To tell before that is it going to rain tomorrow. Now how does this help? Suppose a fisherman has to go out into the sea to do fishing. He has to know, is the weather going to be clear or is it going to be very stormy? It is dangerous to go fishing. So according to that, weather forecasting will also help. Making the maps. From the aerial view, you can make the maps. And searching for water and mineral wealth on the earth. Mineral, from the color of the earth, from the type of rocks and all, they can come to know where you will find certain minerals. They are also used for telecommunication. They are put into orbit around the earth. Now, in fact, all the channels, whatever we get from on TV, far away they play a match, suppose in Australia or somewhere, and we see it here immediately. How do we get to see it? It is through satellite. They are put into orbit around the earth. So these man-made satellites go around the earth. They can remain in space for many years and they will remain there and they will keep sending us the information, beaming down the information to earth. Always remember, space scientists have not yet been able to find a single other planet which has life on it. So when people talk about aliens or when you say Jadoo after seeing one movie and you think no, many other aliens exist on other planets, as yet no alien has been found. Therefore, our Earth is an invaluable planet. Invaluable means itna मौल्यवान कि उसका मूल्य नहीं लगा सकते. It is so valuable. It is invaluable. So, here when we say that our planet is invaluable, it is because only on our planet Earth do we have the kind of atmosphere that is oxygen, we have water, which supports life. No other planet has life as yet. There may be something, maybe in the future we find, but as yet we have not found any life on any other planet. The degradation of its environment. Now, degradation means slowly spoiling. Let us see this word. Or worsening. So, slowly you can see it is becoming worse. So, here you can see the degradation of the environment for any reason will be a threat to the existence of life itself. We have to be very careful. We have only one planet Earth. We have to look after it. Because if we keep on degrading our Earth, we keep on polluting our Earth, we won't have any life left on it. Now, let us quickly recap what we have learnt. The main points. The Sun is a star. All other bodies in the solar system get light from the Sun. The Sun and the planets, they are satellites, dwarf planets and asteroids that revolve around the Sun are together called the solar system. So, in solar system, what all comes? First of all, the Sun. Then whatever goes around the Sun, we already saw our 9 planets. We saw all the 9 planets, how to remember? Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune and Pluto. Pluto is not in your textbook, but very often Pluto is given in some of the diagrams. Pluto is your dwarf planet. It has a different orbit. That means all of them go in one direction while this goes in its own way. Plus, it is known as a dwarf planet because it is very tiny compared to all the others. Dwarf yani thingna, bona, that means very tiny. But you can count it as the 9th planet. And the asteroids. Asteroids, you already saw the heavenly bodies. We saw a picture of it. You'll find it between Mars and Jupiter. Next point of recap. We are doing the summary just now. Things on Earth remain on it due to the force of gravity. I told you on this round Earth we don't fall off because the gravitational pull pulls us towards the Earth. In Hindi and Marathi, we call it Grutva Akarshan. Akarshan means attraction. So every planet has this gravitational pull. But some have less, some have more. That means the gravitational pull of the Earth is so strong that we don't get attracted to another planet which is pulling us. But even the moon has gravitational pull on the Earth. And that pulls the water upwards. Do you know that is why we have high tides? Because it pulls it upwards, the water. But does the water go away? No, because the gravitational pull of the Earth is stronger. Next point, to travel in space, the Earth's gravitational force has to be overcome. Overcome means you have to go beyond that. You have to see to it that the force with which you send the rocket, you launch the rocket, has to be so strong that it can get away from the gravitational pull of the Earth. Rocket technology helps us to do that. We saw the launching of the rocket, we saw how much fuel has to be used so that that rocket can be launched up. Now we come to the question and answers. Have you understood the entire lesson? Because then it will be very easy to answer. First, what is the solution? One of the asteroids has fallen out of its place in the asteroid belt. Now, what is the asteroid belt we saw? That all these asteroids, you can see they look like little stones. They were moving around the part which is between Mars and between Jupiter. Now, suppose one of them just falls down and comes hurtling towards the sun. Hurtling. Let us see this word. Hurtling means with great force. So suppose it comes down with great force towards the sun. Our Earth is in its way. That means when it comes, we are there in the middle. Our Earth is in the way and there is all likelihood of being a collision. Collision means it will bang against the Earth. Sometimes we use collision for head-on collision. When two cars, they have an accident, they bang against each other. So let us look at the word collision. Now bang against each other, of course, with again a lot of force. So suppose this type of asteroids comes with great force on the Earth. What can be done to prevent this collision? Is there anything that we can do? No. I'll give you one example. Near Aurangabad, there's a place called Lonar. So sometimes these meteorites or these asteroids come hurtling downwards. Now, when that comes down, it can cause great damage. You find suddenly there might be a big hole which is formed. Of course, today people specially go to visit Lonar to see that big hole which is now a lake. That water in that lake is green in color, it smells of sulfur. But it was something which happened years ago. And when this meteorite or asteroid comes down, it can cause damage, or sometimes luckily, if it falls in a place where nobody is there, no one will get hurt. So you don't have to worry about it. We also saw that most of the things, they don't change their orbit. So do you think it is likely, sambhavna hai, कि suddenly something will come on us from the heavenly sky, that one stone will fall on us suddenly? No, because most of the things, they orbit in the part where they are supposed to. Because of the attraction of the sun and the other planets playing on it, it remains in a particular place. Now use your brain power. You'll have to use your brain a little bit. First, what will happen to our solar system if the sun were to suddenly disappear? Everything that we learned today depends on the sun. All our planets are going around the sun. We get our heat from the sun. We get our light from the sun. We get our energy from the sun. Do you know your bones also are strong because of sunlight? You get vitamin D because of that. You may not realize it. Old people sometimes are told, sit out in the sun. If you have aching bones or joints, then they sit in the sun and they get vitamin D from the sun. If the sun was not there, the plants will not be able to make food. In science, we will also learn about photosynthesis, how plants make food from the sun. So the sun is the origin of life. Without the sun, there will be no life on earth. We also have learnt about evaporation. Evaporation is when the water goes up and becomes vapor because of heat. Bashpi Bhavan. It goes up and you can't see it, but then later on it forms clouds, then you can see the clouds. Later on the water comes down. This water cycle of the water going up and coming down again is because of the sun. No sun, no rain. No sun, no energy, because the energy that we get by eating food, plants that we eat, vegetables that we eat, that comes from the sun. So here when they have asked you what will happen if the sun disappears, there will be no life. Second, suppose you want to give your address to a friend you have on planet Mars. Earlier we already saw that there is no alien, there is no jadoo, but suppose yani maan lo, okay, you have one friend who is living on Mars. Now a person who lives on Mars, they have given it one name, Martian. But there are no Martians. Some people say they are green in color, but there are no Martians. Understand that. It is only apni kalpana shakti se, they make stories, all imaginary. Now, how will you write your address if you want them to understand exactly where you live? When we write our address, we write, suppose I write my flat number 204. If I write Sumati Dham, that means you write first only where your family is living. Then you will write the society where more people are living. Then suppose I write LBS Marg. Okay, that is the name of the road. And on that road many societies are there. So more people live. Then I write Mulund West, that even more people are living there. Then I write Mumbai 400008. Okay. Now suppose I have written so much, or 4080 or whichever number it might be. This is not my real address, otherwise everybody will come to my house. Now after this, do I need to put Maharashtra also? Normally we write only till here, but to make it very clear now, I'll have to write Maharashtra to show in which state I live. Then after that I will have to write India so that they understand in which country. After that I will have to write Asia to show in which continent I live, and then I will have to write Earth to show which planet I live on. So you have to imagine that you make a pen friend. It is just imaginary. That means you will have to show which state you live in, कौन से देश में रहते हो, कौन से खंड में रहते हो, और फिर finally पृथ्वी पे रहते हो. So you will have to write very long address, and your friend's address, what will be at the end? It will be Mars, but this is only imaginary. Question number 3. Now question number 3, you will have to look at the picture below. They have given all the planets in the wrong manner. They have given it anywhere at all. So if you also look at page number 2. On page number 2, all the planets have been given to you in order, and they've asked you which ones are wrongly sequenced or which ones are wrongly put, so then you'll understand immediately. The ones on page number 2 are given in the right order, and the ones which are given on page number 5 are given in the wrong order. Now the fourth question, you have to guess, who am I? मैं कौन हूँ? First, you can see me from the earth, but the lighted part of me that you see changes every day. So the answer is the moon. Now the lighted part, or the part which is lit up, you can see that sometimes you can see the moon, full moon. Sometimes you can see half a moon. Sometimes you can see a crescent moon. Eid ka chand, when we say, it is a crescent moon. So which angle you're seeing the moon from, it will keep on changing how you see. The lit up part, now this is also round only, but only half of it is lit. This part is dark, which is why we see only half moon. Same way, when it's a crescent moon, the 3/4 part is dark, which is why we see only a thin sliver of moon. So the first answer is moon. B. I have my own light. It is only from me that all the other planets get the light. Who am I? The sun. The sun is also a star, as I told you. It is closest to the earth, which is why it looks big and bright as compared to the other stars. So I can proudly say that my light is used by all the other planets. I am the sun. I turn around myself. This is the third question. Around a planet and also around a star. That means I rotate and I revolve around a planet. So I am the satellite. SATELLITE. Best example of satellite which goes around planet Earth is the moon. That is a natural satellite. D. I turn myself around. That means I rotate and I revolve around the planet. Around the sun, I am a planet. Now here planet means any planet you can take. Here it is the earth. But which planet are we talking about where we live? That is earth. E. No other planet has a living world like mine. Only I have life, and that is earth. F. I am the nearest star to the earth. The sun. The sun is the closest star, which is why it looks big and bright. The last question, 5A. For what purpose are rockets used in space travel? That is used for launching it out into space so that we can study about space. And what information do man-made satellites provide? Now here, you can mark your answer 5B directly on page number 4. Can you see the box where they have given man-made satellites? Man-made satellites provide useful information for agriculture, environment, weather forecasting, making maps, searching for water and mineral wealth on Earth. They are also used for telecommunication, and they are put into orbit and can remain there. So the last two lines, even if you don't take, you take only up to telecommunication, you will understand all the different uses that it is meant for. That is your man-made satellites or artificial satellites. Have you got that? Now, we will look at some extra question answers on the board. First, let us look at match the columns. When you match the columns, don't draw ugly lines across because then it becomes very untidy. So let us see first ISRO. What does it match with? Indian Space Research Organization. So here, along with this, you can write 1 so that you know D matches with 1. Next, Chandrayaan 1. Now Chandrayaan 1 was launched on 22nd October 2008. So you can match this with the second one. Third, Mangalyaan was launched on 5th November 2013. So you can match this with the third one. MOM, that is the full form is Mars Orbit Mission. So here we have the fourth answer. And dwarf planet is Pluto. Have you got that? We will now go to some extra questions. Name some astronauts of Indian origin. So here we have Kalpana Chawla, Sunita Williams and Rakesh Sharma. Or what is space? Space is the emptiness. Emptiness means there is nothing there beyond the stars and planets. We can get so many different types of questions. Like for example, define. In define, we cannot write just in our own words anything at all. So here, stars are heavenly bodies that have their own light and twinkle. Now in planets, you'll say that heavenly bodies is given here also and here also. So what is the difference? Planets, you'll find they don't have their own light, but they get light from other stars. We get ours from the sun. And they revolve around a star, that is we revolve around the earth, and rotate around themselves. That means we rotate around this way also and around the sun also. Other than this, you can get so many more questions. Basically, you need to know your entire lesson. For example, on page 2, you can see they have given you satellites. What are satellites? Some heavenly bodies revolve around other planets. So those are known as satellites. Or what is a dwarf planet? So dwarf planets revolve independently and they have their own orbit. So that is the definition. Asteroids. These are also heavenly bodies which are found between Mars and Jupiter. On page number 3, what is gravity? So here you'll find that the force of attraction which is exerted by one planet on the other or one heavenly body on the other is called gravity. Next, if you go to page number 4, we can also ask you, what is it that makes the rocket go up in space? So, the energy that you get from the explosive substances. There's a lot of energy and that is what that makes the rocket go up in space. So your teacher can write different types of questions. She can give you fill in the blanks. She can give you match the columns, true or false. See, sometimes you can also get this. Instead of giving you this date, if I give you a wrong date and ask you, is it true or is it false? So that also can come as a question. So it doesn't matter how they ask the question. You should be prepared. You should know your entire lesson. Okay.